Hey Jake, Renegade here. I just watched your I Can't Continue This video, and man, there's a whole lot in that hit home with me. And to share a little bit, I live on a sailboat now, actually, up here in Washington State. So for me, kind of, and I also, going by the screen name Renegade, it's actually because, like, my dream growing up as a kid was to have a Jeep. I've actually got an 80 CJ7 that's sitting in my storage shed out in Montana in a bunch of pieces right now that I desperately need to finish, but haven't had any shop space for a long time, so I haven't been able to do that. And so your channel's one that I just kind of latched onto, and I've watched and I've followed for a long time, and I have really enjoyed. I mean, I've lived vicariously through you, watching you get out there and do the 50-state road trip and everything else, and been with your channel for year and a half now, something like that. A good long time, a real good long time. I mean, it was when you were still sleeping on just the cot and the Jeep and everything else, and I really enjoyed that. And I understand actually really well where you're coming from, because you see, I used to be a truck driver, and trucking all over the country. I've been to 48 states. I've been to 3 Canadian provinces. I've been to Mexico. I've traveled like 1.5 million miles. Before that, I was in the Navy. And so I've gotten to see a lot of things in my lifetime. I've got to experience a lot of things in my lifetime. And this is the problem that I can see part of what you're facing is when you start to have these experiences, you start on a divergent path. Everyone that you grew up with and came up with that stayed in your hometown, they stayed on this path here, and you have gone off this way, and you have found yourself. And in that, there is great power. There are great things. I mean, you've seen things and experienced things that now when you go home and talk to people there, they just have no frame of reference for what it is that you're experiencing and what you've gone through and the stories that you're telling. I mean, they enjoy hearing about it, they enjoy seeing it, but they really don't understand the experience because they just haven't been there, they haven't done anything like it. And that creates a divide between you and everyone else. That's something I really noticed after the Navy, especially like I was active duty for 9/11. It happened right over here at Whidbey Island when 9/11 happened. I was there, and I got out just a couple years after that. I got hurt really bad, got put out on medical retirement, and so I kind of had to go find and do my thing. So I went and got on the road, trucked all over the country, saw a whole lot of things, covered a lot of the same territory that you've covered in the blog there, because I'm originally from Montana, so out west I was always all over this country. And so for me it was neat seeing some of that stuff and seeing what you're doing out there. And for me, having that experience, it does create a divide, and it does make it hard to have friendships and relationships and things like that. And it does make it hard to have that closeness with anyone who is not in that world, because the people just don't understand. And, like with your ex, I mean, I'm not going to get into that, but, the one thing I did want to talk about in just with relationships in general is women can be dream killers. They can be the type of people that will get with you and they'll try to change you. They'll try to force you to be someone who you're not. And that's something you really have to watch out for. Is, a woman will see, hey, this guy, he's got some little bit of fame, doing his thing, da 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 da. I can change him. I can force him to be someone else. A lot of them, unfortunately, learn to be very manipulative, and that's something in my life that I've encountered quite a bit. Is meet a girl, and then she kind of starts to want me to start doing this, that, and the other thing, and, oh, you shouldn't be doing this. Why are you like that? That's just, and it's like, wait a minute, you need to either like me for me, or you need to shove off. I mean, I'm happy with my life, and that's, for me, I guess, I grew up in a really bad situation. You talked about things with your dad. I had some very serious issues with my mother growing up. I mean, eventually, for some of the stuff my mother did, she wound up in prison for 4 years. And I haven't spoken to her since I was 15 years old, and really, the day she passes from this world, I will be happy that she's no longer able to hurt anyone. Just not a good person. And so having that experience growing up, going through the abuse and everything that she put me and the rest of the family through, that was a very difficult thing. And it really made me latch on and say, hey, the most important thing in life is doing what you love, finding happiness. And if anyone tries to stand between you and your happiness, they don't really care about you. And that's the attitude I've taken. And you have to kick toxic people out of your life. You can't try and change them, because you cannot change people. And really what that boils down to is life is about experiences. It's about when you are on your deathbed and you're dying, you're going to have great stories to tell because of what you've done. You've been telling stories the whole time. You've been out here filmmaking. You've been out here traveling. And I don't think this is what you'll do the rest of your life, but it may be some permutation of this. I mean, living in a Jeep, I mean, me being a trucker and knowing Jeeps and everything else, living in the Jeep the way you're doing it, I would be pretty hard-pressed to do that. But it's an adventure that's cool. I mean, I love going out there, going camping, doing things like that. So, I mean, for me, watching what you're doing has been really cool to see how far you've been able to push this thing. Now, what that really ties into, though, with the two last points that I made, is you cannot make someone else happy. If someone isn't happy already, nothing in this world that you can do is going to make that person happy. And I can tell you being the type, just watching through the vlogs, you're a sheepdog. You're the type of person who likes to take care of other people, that likes to inspire other people. You're that guy out there that, protects your friends, protects the people you care about. And for you, that's a natural thing to want to make sure that people around you are happy and taken care of and things like that. And it can be very hard when it doesn't work out that way, and it can put you in a bad place. And I mean, yeah, you had all the stuff with your pops and everything else, and trying to make that work, and like there's nothing you can do to change that. And that's just a real tough situation. And I mean, there's no easy answers to that, unfortunately. There's great value in time by yourself, though. I mean, to get out there and reflect and think about things and ponder things. And I tell you what, for me, that time on the road was so good for that, because I came home. I have very serious PTSD. I have a head injury. I have a traumatic brain injury, actually. And so, for me, overcoming all that, getting out onto the road, that time with myself, getting to know myself again, because when you experience something like that, it was just such a shock to my system. Like, who I was literally changed. I kept having to go through this thing with my family where they would say, "You're just not the person we knew anymore. You've changed." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, I've got, this thing happened. I have brain damage. I am not the same person anymore." It's very difficult. And I had to learn how to do a lot of things over. I had to learn how to interact with people in a new way and to remember things different ways. And it was a very difficult experience that I've really had to adapt and overcome for many, many years. And so for that time by myself was very valuable for that, to get out there on the road and sit and ponder. And then somewhere along the way I discovered audiobooks, and I started just cranking out the audiobooks, and it really, for me, was really good. There's so many great books out there today that you can listen to, like How to Win Friends, Influence People, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I mean, there's just all these different resources that you have available to you through, I use the Audible app, which is really great. And I think that time by yourself is going to be really important. You need to get out there and you need to decide what it is you're all about. And yeah, it would, making your living situation easier, because I understand how much work it is. I mean, I did the van life thing for about 6 months, 8 months, and decided I'd had enough of that. And ultimately where I settled is on a sailboat. I really love being on a sailboat. I got a nice little 42-foot sailboat that's really comfortable for me. I got my buddy Alex crewing for me here. And we just went out and had this amazing summer where we had like really awesome experiences. And then on the flip side, the whole time I'm dealing with like getting screwed over by the VA, because I had the VA screw up all the stuff that I had going on this year really, really badly. And that cost me my place to live. It caused a whole lot of problems, and I'm still in the process of dealing with that. But having this has been really great for me, and it's been really good to have my little like floating home on the water here and to be able to get out and experience things. And I think for you, getting out on your own, that's going to be really good for a while, and absolutely getting the Jeep set up and everything else. I mean, I absolutely understand that. The other thing I was going to bounce into is friends are going to come and go in life. I think about the people I hung around with when I was 16, and the people I hung around with when I was 20, and 25, and 35, and now I just turned 37. And so I'm about 10 years ahead of where you are. And through that experience, going through all those years, I've had a lot of people come in and out of my life, and some have stuck around. A lot of them have gone to the wayside. They've just kind of faded out into the periphery, and that's fine, because it's a very select few people that I actually want to keep in my life. And I'm fortunate to have really good friends, and that's what you're going to do along the way. And I know that being out on the road like you are, there's a certain amount of loneliness, and there's going to be the times where you're just like sitting in the Jeep at night and you're going to be staring up at the ceiling, listen to it rain, and you're going to be miles away from anyone you know, and it'll hit you, and it'll kind of get under your skin, and it's tough being by yourself like that sometimes. And I think that we all want someone to love, and I've been through a lot of relationships in my lifetime. I've been through several ups and downs. I have been left in a way that was very abrupt and upsetting in my life, and those things, they hurt and they stick with you, and the unfortunate, that's the way it is, and there is some loneliness out there. um, if there's one thing I can really say is, you are not going to find the woman of your dreams in a city somewhere. You're probably going to bump into her on a trail somewhere, or out there doing something that you love to do. I mean, it's going to be, you're going to roll into a parking lot somewhere, and there'll be some girl in a van there who's doing the van life thing, and that's because it's what she really wants to do. And if I could encourage you to do anything, it would be to get with other YouTubers that are doing this lifestyle, and start to collaborate and start to hang out with other people that are in the same realm and doing the things that you are. Because for me, that's been a great thing. Like, I've started hanging around with the Seattle YouTube community here a little bit, and I mean, I'm around a lot of people that are sailors because I live in a marina, and I'm really hardcore into sailing. So for me, that's my happiness. That's my happy place, because I can walk out here on the dock and I can find people that are like me, that are doing the things that I want to do. And so for you, if you can reach out to those other YouTubers that are doing the van life thing, that are on the road and making videos and doing it the same way, and you can collaborate and you work together, I think you are going to find so much value in that. And seriously, sit down, start sending out the emails, find other channels. Like, I don't know if you know Doug Jackson from SV Seeker, but Doug is like a really good dude. And Doug is always finding new channels that are doing the same thing that he is, and helping those channels come up. Get out there, find those other channels, collaborate with them, help them build their audience, build something that is greater than yourself, and you will be rewarded for it, because you can be the guy that put that all together. And I really think that that's where you're going to find the happiness, and that's where you're going to find the companionship. I think you're looking for the friendship and companionship in the wrong places. You're going back to the well of where you've been, your childhood friends and things like that. It's not like your friend... Video stopped recording. Okay, back to it. It's not like your friend that you've had with you has had like a whole bad time or anything. It's just a matter of, it's not his dream. And I understand that. I mean, not everyone has the same dream. I mean, for me, what I do out here, this is what I know, it's what I love, it's what I enjoy, so I get to go out and do this. But like, for my best friend growing up, his name is Nick also, for him, I mean, his dream was to be up in the mountains and going hunting and doing the things he does up there, riding motorcycles, and hey, that's great. But it doesn't leave us with anything in common today, and that's kind of the price you pay for living this lifestyle. Is there's that separation that comes up from the people that you used to know, and you have to build new friendships, and you have to build new inroads. And if you don't do that, man, it's going to eat at you, and you're going to wind up very lonely. So I really wish you the best of luck in that. I am going to try and cut this off here. I will say something. I threw it at you in a live stream, mentioned sailing to Hawaii next year. I am going to Hawaii. I understand that Jade cannot go to Hawaii without some really big swim fins, but I'm going to pop you off an email about maybe extending the 50-state road trip to Hawaii by running it on the sailboat, because I am going to need to find a couple of more people for crew, so maybe we can get you to Hawaii on the 50-state road trip. If not, no hard feelings, but it could be a lot of fun. We'll catch you later, man. You take care of yourself. Good luck in Wisconsin. Hope you get everything squared away. Be looking forward to seeing what you come up with.